All the way from Spring Lake High School in Spring Lake, Michigan, please welcome our furthest traveling speaker of the night, Colin Hendrickson, with Young Entrepreneurship.
That was a bit loud, my bad. All right, how many of you enjoy stories? I have a story to share with you this evening. It's not just any story. This is the story. The story that has the potential to drastically change the way you make choices in life from here on out. However, that is only if you let it do so and fully listen. You see, life is full of choices, some being failures leading to dead ends, and others continuing on in success. This story is about drones. And no, not the missile launching type, but the more friendly picture-taking type. It takes place last year while I was on vacation in Florida with my cousin Brenton. We had just woken up after a long day of traveling and dealing with the TSA the day beforehand. I believe it was this trip, actually, that we were detained for 4 very long hours. But that's another story. We were in the middle of eating some delicious blueberry pancakes. The only reason I remember this is because we sadly did not get to finish them. We heard a commotion outside on the beach, so we went out to investigate. It turned out to be a group of tourists gasping in awe at a school of dolphins. Christmas had just recently passed, so I was fortunate enough to borrow my little brother's camera to record the trip. My cousin had just gotten a new drone for the holiday, and we thought it would be the perfect opportunity to test the two out and get some footage of the trip. So we raced back inside, grabbed the camera, grabbed the drone, and sprinted back out to the beach. We set the drone up, launched it into the air, and sent it out over the water. It was about 8 feet above these beautiful creatures jumping in and out of the water. It was one of the most amazing sights I had ever seen. I couldn't wait to see the footage. So we brought the drone back in and started heading back to the condo. On the way back, we saw another school of dolphins. This time, not only jumping in and out of the water doing tricks, but also going over each other and doing all these crazy things. It was amazing. So again, we had to stop and set the drone up, launched it into the air, and sent that out over the water. This time it was about 60 feet out there and 5 feet above the water. The only reason I remember this is because it slowly started descending. You see, normally drones have a built-in GPS, and when their battery runs low, they return to the spot they launched from. So I turned to my cousin, "Did you set the GPS?" "No, I thought you did." We watched in horror as these Christmas presents slowly descended into the Gulf of Mexico with a splash. I remember there was these girls stand-up paddleboarding right next to the crash spot. They yelled out to us, "Hey, your helicopter thing is sinking." "Well, no, duh. You guys are like 3 feet from it. Can you jump in and grab it?" But to our horror, they paddled away. Quickly, we stripped off our pajamas, jumped into the ocean in our underwear in front of all of these people, and swam frantically out to the crash spot, only to realize it was way over our head, and the presents were long gone. That caused for a very sour start to the trip, and the tough explanation to my younger brother. However, as painful as that experience was, it changed my life. It was from that experience I got an idea. It was from that experience life presented me with a fork in the road. One, to a roadblock of failure, and the other to move on. And I chose to move on. It was from that experience my cousin and I had the option to mourn and loss, but chose to grow. It was from that experience I found a passion. I started a company. You see, you will always be presented with failures in life. Human nature is to curl up into a ball, find your happy place, and forget about them. However, in order to truly benefit from those failures, you need to learn to embrace them, grow from them, get out of your comfort zone, and try again. You see, the key is, you have the ability to shape the world, just like the person sitting on each side of you. It boils down to the choices you make in life. Now, you're probably wondering who I am. You see, I'm kind of new to this whole public speaking thing, but I was given the opportunity to give a TED Talk, and I was going to see that through. So let me introduce myself so you can fully understand where I come from. As you probably already know by the introduction and the slide and stuff, my name is Colin Hendrickson. I actually live in Spring Lake, which is about 2.5 hours away, right next to Grand Haven for those who don't know. And I'm probably wondering, why would this kid drive all the way out here just to talk to us? Well, you see, I have a passion. I've been fond of it ever since I was little. Entrepreneurship. I've been very thankful to be given a taste of it at a young age in elementary school. It was in 4th grade we were given the assignment to come up with a product and sell it to our peers. And what I did was I came up with swirly whirly cakes, or more simply put, ice cream cones filled with cake. And what do you know? It was a hit. I was able to sell out in minutes. 4th graders love sugary treats, by the way. And I was able to sell in minutes. It was amazing, and one of the first entrepreneurial experiences I ever got. I loved it, and I held on to it. For many years to follow, I began other small entrepreneurial adventures. Like in the beginning years of middle school, I crafted and sold duct tape wallets. This was before all the crazy colors you see nowadays like chrome and macaroni. I remember iPhone 4s were becoming a big trend, so I asked my mom if I could get one. And she said, Colin, the only way you can get an iPhone is if you pay for it yourself. The typical mom response. Well, you see, only being in middle school, I had no idea where I was going to come up with a couple $100s, and I was too young to get a job. So what I did was I started making and selling paracord bracelets, actually. First to the members of my Boy Scout troop, and later on my whole school. Within a month, I was able to proudly walk into the Verizon store and purchase a brand new iPhone. Nowadays, you can see paracord bracelets almost everywhere. And I'm proud to say I was one of the first people to start that trend. However, it wasn't until I turned 14 that I truly got a taste of the business world, to understand what it was like to be an entrepreneur, to be your own boss. It was at that age I started up my first L.L.C. What we did was we designed, developed, and marketed a simple idea that we had, a beach toy. It was an inflatable apparatus that you could jump on and play games on while at the beach. We spent months, weeks, and days worth of our time poured into this. And it was amazing to finally see it all come together. Our blood, our sweat, our tears, our product. To be able to hold it in our hands. We're actually in the process of getting our product on the shelves of MC Sports with a sales representative when we were fortunate enough to cut a deal with an investor. It was so intense for so long, but it felt so good to finally have all that hard work pay off. However, it felt as if there was a piece of me missing. After living a couple months with that hole inside me, I realized what I had to do. I started an aerial photography company. Thank you. Thank God there's not an ocean around. Just a large crowd of people. So, to this current day, my cousin and I own and operate an aerial photography firm on a national level, having done work on multi-million-dollar houses on the Gulf of Mexico to small poultry farms in the middle of nowhere. You see, it was from these experiences I learned more than I could ever imagine at that time of my life. It was from the great people that helped mentor me and guide me that taught me business lessons, such as proper customer relations, all the way down to how to write a simple invoice. You see, I'm not here to tell you to go out and become an entrepreneur. I'm here to tell you that you have the ability to shape the world, just like the person sitting on each side of you. It all starts with a simple idea. You see, simple ideas emerge from the littlest of things. Steve Jobs, legendary technology guru that founded the multi-billion-dollar company Apple, started with a simple idea out of his garage. Walt Disney started with a simple idea of Mickey Mouse, which later ventured into a multi-billion-dollar industry and world-renowned amusement park. Mark Zuckerberg, at the age of 23, became the world's youngest billionaire, starting up the massive social media powerhouse, Facebook, out of his garage. You see, all of these successful figures you see today ran into failures on their journey to success. They all had the option to quit and never try again. But what made them the successful stories they are today is they kept going. They learned from their mistakes, and they grew. The key is to find the positive in every situation. If we go back to the first story I talked about, when I crashed my little brother's Christmas present into the ocean, my cousin and I had the opportunity to mourn and loss, but we chose to grow, building up our entrepreneurial experiences and starting a company. You see, you have the ability to shape the world, just like the person sitting on each side of you. It all starts with a simple idea.